Are you an entrepreneur or ready to become a boss? Welcome to Hawaii Boss, the business podcast made in Hawaii, where you will hear from island movers and shakers on who they are and their impact on our state. And now, step into the office of your host for Hawaii Boss, David Pettijohn.
Aloha, Hawaii Boss podcast crew. I can't believe we are here in a live podcast room here down at the Kekoa Collective with our gracious host, Dewey Doan, is here with us. Aloha, Dewey.
Hello.
Welcome, Dewey. It is so cool. If any of you have been down to Ward area, we call it, what do you call this area here? What would you?
Kaka'ako.
Yeah, Kaka'ako. So it's right down F45. It's Patagonia, all that kind of right down by here. And you've got, it's this amazing thing. Kekoa Collective is more than a brand. People, Hawaii, you see like everybody's trying to figure, hey, what's a good brand? I got a name for this. I got a name for that. And they got bumper stickers with, 6 different, cool things on it. But this is something more. This is sort of a life choice for you. Tell us how that business and life and everything fall under this idea of the Kekoa Collective.
Kekoa Collective was actually launched back in 2009. In 2009, I started training jiu-jitsu in 2007. And then 2009, I was a blue belt. And at that time, I was working for a surf company called Quicksilver.
Mm-hmm.
And in the marketplace at that time, there was really no jiu-jitsu apparel.
Mm-hmm.
There was only 2 apparel brands. One was Tap Out. I don't know, Miguel, you remember that?
Sure, yeah.
I remember the brand.
And the other one's Affliction. There was only 2 options, right? So for me, I fell in love with jiu-jitsu because I find it was such a beautiful art. As a blue belt, you're obsessed. Like, that's all you do. You think and eat and sleep jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to wear something that represents the gentle art, And so...
Yeah, because Affliction, all that was sort of gothic, and it was real sort of like heavy and didn't really reflect
it's a badass brand.
Right.
You got these big muscle guy, like tough guys
Mm-hmm.
and all that.
Yeah.
And for me, I didn't connect with that at all.
Right.
For jiu-jitsu at that time, it changed. It was slowly changing me. I didn't know how much it changed me or not. So I met this kid named Joe Highfield, and we both worked for Quicksilver together.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I first met him in San Francisco. I went and visited a store on Powell Street, and he was 18 or 19. He was going to fit him to be designed, and he told me, he goes, Dewey, when I finish my degree, I'm going to come down and be designer at Quicksilver. So I told him, I hear our staff, mention this all the time. I go, I tell you what, Joe, when I see you knocking on my door, then I know you're serious, then I would do everything I can to help you with it.
Right.
So Joe basically didn't train jiu-jitsu. He was a surfer and skater.
Uh-huh.
And he knocked on my door literally a year and a half later.
Mm-hmm.
And
You had a good long think about it.
Yeah, so at that time he was designing a bunch of stuff for e-commerce and a bunch of brands inside of Quicksilver.
Sure.
So I talked him into design Kekoa. And that's how we launched the brand in 2009, Kekoa.
Mm-hmm.
That's how smart I was, because the recession came around the corner. So it didn't last long. The dream failed miserably within less than a year.
So big launch and then poof, the economy.
Well, there's a couple of things. You heard the old, people, everyone in America, I think that's the beauty about this country, is like everybody can be an entrepreneur,
mm-hmm.
right? And everybody wants to start their own business. And for me, looking back now, I failed miserably because I was working full-time for Quicksilver, and
mm-hmm.
I did part-time in Kekoa.
Mm-hmm.
So, for all those out there dreaming your own company, you have to really put 1,000,000% effort into your dream,
mm-hmm.
into your thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I treat it like a second job,
mm-hmm.
and the result like a second job.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a hobby, So thank God we fell early. So we didn't really have a lot at stake.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2009, recession came later, and then we had a new president. Like all companies, publicly traded companies, you guys been there, right?
Yeah.
When shit goes south, they go, well, let's bring somebody that has.
Right, and then they bring a new book in with them and a different cadre of staff.
In a year, he was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And within a year, he did more damage
It's tough
to the company and everything around. Right? So basically, he told me, Dewey, you gotta choose. You're executive for us. You can do that, or you're gonna do your own thing. It's a conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm.
But my old boss, my mentor, who was a senior VP, I went and asked him to do that. He goes, absolutely, man. You know, this jujitsu, we're served, so I'll go. So I did it. That's how I started.
Right.
But thank God we failed. So in 2009, latter part 2009, I folded the company, and literally 8 months later, I got let go. I was laid off during a massive recession in 2010.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's sort of the, I guess, the story of before it all can come back. The Phoenix story, I guess, is the beginning. But before we do, we need to introduce your seatmate there. Miguel Gonzalez, a jiu-jitsu practitioner. No, I forgot to do it. You know, he helps us producing here with Hawaii Boss, and but again, this love of jiu-jitsu is sort of the piece that begins to bring us all together in some way. And so I think I'm gonna be on the mat here before I'm done this afternoon. but there's a mat downstairs inside the clothing shop. This place is so cool when you come in. It's just a whole different vibe. So tell us about that. It sounds like you had the vision, but it was just sort of in its infancy, and it was sort of still under that corporate model a little bit, and so it didn't, in new management, et cetera, didn't have the vision, or you couldn't capture the vision at that time due to some circumstances, financial, the big thing that hit everybody. So now as you're looking out of that, and you're everyone's trying to reinvigorate, especially if they're entrepreneurs. So where did you see yourself? What became the next vision for you?
Well, thank God we failed in 2010, because as a blue belt, anyone who trains jiu-jitsu as a blue belt, you don't know shit.
Right.
But you think you know shit, because they teach you all of these things, and you're like, you think you're all this super powerful, right? But intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, you haven't spent enough time in the mat to really let the art transform who you are yet. So best thing ever happened to me was I lost my job. I was there for, I don't know, over a couple of decades.
Sure.
And forever, David and Miguel, I had like a dream job. My boss, the person I report to, Greg Solomon and George Kemp, was amazing human.
Right.
I mean, they were great mentors. I mean, I can't believe they pay me to go to work every day. So for me, I was in this deep state of gratitude. And forever, I thought everyone in America had this same, blissful experience, right? And here we are, a publicly traded company.
Right.
And this is how naive I was at age 48, David. So after the layoff, I went out and worked for 2 other companies, and reality hit. So here I am, living in Orange County, working for Quicksilver, and recession was hard to find a job.
Sure.
Right. So this is how much fear I was living. I was hanging on to the house, hanging on to my title, because that's all I've done. That's all I know. So I thought, hey,
your whole life, your whole world was wrapped around that. And I think it's a message out there to all the Hawaii bosses, and that's what we're trying to say, is that you can wrap your whole life around this position that doesn't really even reflect who you maybe really are.
Yeah.
And you find out at 48, like, hey, this world, what I thought it was, isn't, and so how do I fit in now?
Yeah. So like everything else, right? You work so hard, you want to climb the corporate ladder, whatever, and you get there and you become a VP and you go, yay, right? And that becomes your identity almost, if you're not really conscious, right? So I thought that was it, right? So I went out and looked for other VP jobs. I finally got one. And when I was driving from LA to from Orange County, from Laguna Niguel to LA every day, sitting in traffic 2.5 hours each way.
Prison term.
Well, fear-driven, right? So
right.
Here I am, my 2 kids are in college. I thought, I'm a father, I'm a husband, my job is to provide.
Right.
So shut the F up, right?
Right.
Go to work, make the money, pay for college, and do your duty as a father. Right.
That other dream you had, that thing, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
That's later.
Yeah, well, right? So
Right.
48. So I'm driving back and forth. Thank God I had a Prius, and I listened to all kinds of podcasts and books. And then one day, the light came on. So 3 months into this job, and I knew, like, in the first 2 weeks, it was good. And that the 3rd week, when the owner started yelling and screaming, I go, holy crap, what's up, right? And that's when I knew, okay, this is not good at all. And I knew that voice inside our belly is always right? But the problem, the fear override that. Shut up, take the money, take the 6 figures, take the paycheck, because that's what you do. And then I remember vividly driving home, and traffic that day was horrendous. And I sat there, and I literally didn't go anywhere. I mean, I think I was somewhere between the 90 and the 405. It didn't go anywhere. And then it dawned on me, what are you teaching Nick and Gabby? Nick, at that time, was in college at UC Santa Cruz. Gabby's about to enter college. And I always go, wow, you're teaching them it's okay to compromise the only life that we have, so it can hang on to this status and money and the house and Laguna Niguel. And David, I had a Beamer, an Audi, a Land Cruiser, and Volkswagen van. I had every damn toy there was, right? And at that time, I go, wait a minute, really? What's more important? How you live, how you love, will be biggest teacher to your children. They're not going to remember the car. They're going to remember any of this shit. Next day, I drove back. I asked, I basically resigned. And the guy looks at me and goes, wow, wait a minute. Is it about the money? He goes, no, it's not about the money. I still have the tool to help your wife build this brand. You know, I hate to tell you this. She's a broken human, and she gets healed. You're not going to grow with this company. He looks at me like I'm crazy. You know, I am crazy. And I walked. I got in my Prius and drove home. And this is not the first time I've done this, Miguel. My dear wife, my beautiful wife. I came home, and it's the same shit, David. I normally go grab a bottle of wine. I get home, and I start boozing, and I start cooking. And she knows.
We're going to talk tonight.
Yeah. She walks in their house, she looks at me, and she saw that face. This is the third time I've done this since we've been married. She goes, yep. And she got so angry. Rightly so. I'm her partner. We should have discussed. I didn't, because I tell you why. I was compromised who I was, and I'm beginning to grow completely depressed, anger. I was no longer who I was.
I'm sure, as my wife does too, can see the writing on the wall when that stuff. So it's not a surprise, you know, really, because everything changes, just like, our countenance, or, how we're starting to respond to everything. But we all sort of settle into this sort of rote sort of response to everything. Just, hey, we're moving along, right? No, maybe not. Maybe time to say. So you like to let everybody know, hey, I've had a change of heart here.
Sometimes they know even before.
Well, she knew, because every day, the sad part is, this is how I would come home and complain, right? And I don't live like that. Dewey, most of the time, he does not complain, right? But long story longer, I goes, yes. And she looks at me, what's next? I goes, it's very simple, Jen. We're going back home. We're going to sell everything, and we're going home. And she goes, what do you do at home? Goes, I don't know, but I think I'd like to restart Kekoa. But I can't do it with your support, because you're going to have to go back to work. And I hate to tell you this, we're going to have to take every penny from this house. Because that's what it takes. Because last time we started Kekoa, I put $55,000 in, because you can't launch a brand with $55,000. Because I knew that. So within 2 weeks, I gave almost everything away. We had the biggest yard sale, right? I got in 2 weeks later. I think we got in the Prius. No, 2 weeks later, we put the house on the market. During the recession, everybody told me I was stupid. Don't do it. You're not going to make any money. I goes, I don't care. I was just not.
Well,
so it seems like things started happening so fast. Tell us about that mindset that the switch it happened. So really, did you think any more about your other company? I mean, it was done, right? Basically, that company you just left. Right?
Oh yeah.
So it was. So everything now you could use your full energy for this. And so how did that feel?
Well, not yet, because I can't do it until, number one, I have to have my wife okay that we're going to take every house money to start the brand. Number two, she has to go back to work as a nurse.
Right.
So those two things has to happen before we
Right.
launch Kekoa. So we basically took the Prius, drove across country, visited our son in Texas, visited our daughter in University of Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
We came home.
Go Huskers.
Yeah, I sold everything except my Volkswagen, my 89 Vanagon. We shipped that home. And then we bought one-way ticket home on, actually tomorrow, October 7,
Wow.
2013. My wife turned 50
Mm-hmm.
that day, and we came home.
What was that feeling like coming home?
Oh my God, I cried. First thing I did, Miguel, I grabbed my board, I paddled out of the rock piles,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's it.
And I surfed, and I just cried.
Oh, man.
You knew you
Yeah, I was home. But Hawaii's like that, right?
Mhm.
To me, this is one of the most spiritual places I've ever been in the world.
Yeah, that water is
Indonesia.
like a reconnect with everything, your old past universe. Yeah.
And then that was it. And I knew I was home, and I felt right for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And for 2 years, none of us. I took a job selling surfboards for Surf Tech, and then my wife didn't work. So for 2 years, we swam, we surfed, we hiked. I trained jiu-jitsu and really enjoy our time as empty nester.
Mm-hmm.
And then the money started running out.
As it always does, right? Terrible.
Yeah, the house
Reality
money went
started,
out
yeah.
pretty quick.
Reality started like,
Yeah.
oh, how's that checking account
And
going?
then I look at Jen and she goes, "Are you ready?" And she goes, "I think I am." And she goes, "Okay, I'll get a job as a nurse." And then in 2016, on February, I started writing the business plan. And our daughter graduated in 2000, same year, 2016, in May. And I launched a company, and we opened the door, believe it or not, sometime in late November 2016 at Ward Warehouse.
Wow.
And that was it. So we start
Wow.
there.
And so finding now, again, 2016 to now, that's a start. You what's the difference between then and now? Has your mindset changed on how the business, the vision fully develops? It takes time. So again, you start, but then what kind of iterations did you see
David,
there?
that was one of the most powerful questions that you have asked so far. Here's what happened to me. At 48, my lens was different when I was 42, right?
Mhm.
As a blue belt at 42, and also you have false sense of confidence. When you're a VP for a while, you think you're the shit,
Right.
right? So you know all this crap.
Mhm.
And the experience I had outside of Quicksilver was the best thing for me.
Mhm.
Here's my realization. Ready? Both of you. How many bosses, I'm going to use that word because this is you guys' show,
Sure.
right? That you work for, that you would go, I would die for that man. I would follow that man to the end of time. Go ahead, how many?
I got one.
Okay? And how many bosses have you had since you were 16 years old?
20 plus, easy.
Easy,
Mhm.
20 plus, right? 16 to
Mhm.
now, right?
Mhm.
Miguel, go ahead.
I can't think of one.
What does that say about our country? What does
Mhm.
that say about the condition of our country and the condition of our working environment?
Yeah.
What does that say?
Well, the work culture is inadequate, I think, to meet the needs of this upcoming generation as well. I talked to my daughter, 21 years old. She says, there's so much expected of us at 21, all this digital, and we got to move all this data and stuff like that. Sometimes we don't want to play that game, So again, it's going to be a challenge, I think, to continue to find people of the mindset that you have. But it seems like easier here in Hawaii to find people to help you with this vision and to help you, continue to shape this vision.
What I realized the same thing. I look back and I go, wow, I was so lucky. From the moment I turned 16, I had a boss named Patrick Hischer. I would die for that guy,
Mhm.
right? The next boss I had was Greg Solomon at Quicksilver.
Mhm.
I would die for him. The next guy after that was George Cam. So that's why I have this puppy eyes lens toward the world.
Right.
I goes,
You had
leader
it
should
so
be
good.
like that. Leader should be
Yeah.
like
Right.
But I didn't know that, right,
You're
David?
spoiled with good
Yeah.
leadership.
As an adult with college degree, I go, holy crap. I goes,
Right.
I love everything about it. And then when I got to the real, I go, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to do some soul searching. And it goes, okay, you can't just reopen Kekoa, relaunch Kekoa, and make money so you can surf, you can travel, and train jiu-jitsu, right? And I go, no. this
That's
can't be it.
too self-serving.
Yes, but not only that, but and also age 48.
Mm-hmm.
I thought before 40, I thought midlife crisis for men don't live in truth, right? They live in a lie.
Right.
So sooner or later, they're going to be awakened like, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, at 48, now looking back, I definitely went to midlife crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Midlife crisis for me was questioning the rest of the time I have in this life. And I go, have you done enough for humanity?
Right.
Have you done enough besides taking care of your family?
Right.
And the answer was big fat effing zero.
Right.
So I go, okay, then what is now the new Kekoa? And then I realize, so why is it we have lousy bosses, leadership all these years? Think about that for a second. And I would love to hear you guys answer. Why do you think you haven't found one? Why do you think you only have one out of 90?
Well, I think for me, I think there's this corporate, structure, stemming from, sort of this, again, corporations, the structures that are required, and this hierarchy that that suits them so well to maintain their status, et cetera, and so I think again that doesn't. There's so much. I think we can't have this differentiation so much between levels. I think that's the problem. If we continue to have this sort of top down, this becomes the problem. So I think that's why we were all raised in that. We were brought up in that. That's what we ate and breathed. And so now we're sort of kind of like this whole, the COVID sort of blew all that up for everybody and said, hey, no, we don't have to play that game. I'm going home. Right.
Well, David, coming out of college too, you have certain expectations. I mean, you're climbing the ladder, the professional ladder, and you see certain bosses and their bosses acting a certain way. So sometimes you even just think that to get to that particular level, you have to be that person, that a-hole.
It's sort of the normative sort of standard that they say. It's like that's how I was raised. That's the milk. That's the milk I was raised on.
Right.
Wait a minute, I'm going to challenge you two on this. You two are not like that. So why you two are not like that?
Well, I think there's been culturally some awakening to some other options that don't sort of require us to sort of sign up to that. Now we're just signing up to Facebook or Amazon or. No, I'm just kidding.
Me personally, actually, I took notes on what not to do from those guys. That was my reaction.
Isn't that strange, right? So really, same as I ask these two questions all the time. It goes, of all the teachers you have from kindergarten to college or even high school, same thing. How many do you really remember? Go, wow, lesson. So here we are, Miguel. To your point, as a society, as a country, right? Whether it's work or school. We learn more what not to do than what to do. Isn't that strange? Right. So I felt like we got to do something about this shit.
Right.
I can't sit here and do nothing, continue to ride my freaking fancy car, this 5-bedroom house and all this shit. So I decided...
Because you know how to tap into the capitalist system and say, hey, I know how to roll, I know how to roll this, but then, I can't live the rest of my days out knowing just like my tap's on, and then, I'm not giving back.
Is it legacy then? Is it something
No. Miguel... Legacy also is an illusion, right? Legacy, in this whole entire life of ours, so you really take lousy bosses, lousy leader, and you just peel the layer of the onion, right? It comes back to one thing. It's the ego. True or not true?
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the ego. But the question we're going to ask ourselves is, when the ego present, are we conscious or unconscious?
I would say unconscious. I mean...
Well, yeah, that ego set, becomes who you are at that time. Yeah,
because if you allow the ego to take over everything that you do, yes, every narrative, every sentence, every action, every behavior come out of you is the byproduct of the ego. Now, let me ask you this: why do you think all these guys, got to create this power separation? Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's
a fear
separation. Yeah, I know that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
because they don't want to interact because they keep the mystique, they keep the
insecurity
cloud
too,
up.
to a certain level too, because there's that insecurity that they might be found out who they really are.
Yeah.
But are they really that smooth? You don't think everyone in that company recognize their ego?
Yeah. Oh no. Especially those larger companies, that's part of the game. I mean, that's sort of
all right. Here we are, one of the most powerful powerful country, supposedly, right? Supposedly.
In transition.
Yeah. In transition, 100%, right? So we identify fear and we define ego. So ego and fear live together in the same house, right? So the problem is the moment conscience come in, it vanish and it basically demolish the ego and fear, right? So what I'm saying to you is what I realized, wow, we basically are not a bunch of awakened human. Because awakened human, a conscious human being, would you consciously hurt another human being?
Yeah, if you're aware.
Yeah,
you wouldn't.
If you're conscious.
Right, if you're aware and in the present.
Right. Yeah.
So tell me, again, just a little switch to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Tell me then how breathing helps you stay present in the middle of that fight.
To be honest with you, I wish I'm at a level in jiu-jitsu that I can answer that with confidence. Because for
I'm
those,
just an outsider looking in because I know breathing. Everyone's wrestled. I've done a little bit of rolling here, but that breath part seems to be the difference between winning and losing.
I wish I was good enough. But for those who train with me, I breathe like I have oxygen machine in me.
That's so.
You know what I mean?
It's in the DNA.
Yeah. But I think it is. For 6 minutes, it's all about how well you use your energy, right? And how well you predict the person's next move, and you use your ego, right? And your strength and your oxygen in the right place, and you will capture that moment and you're in a better position. In that sense, you're 100% correct.
Efficiency.
Yeah,
you want that efficiency.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But a lot of time when you're not confident and when you're not secure your skill sets, you allow fear to set in. Fear sets in, you breathe like you're basically on oxygen tank.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to die. Yeah. You
So
sort
you
of suffocate yourself almost just through the anxiety.
And then the more you breathe, it's just like divers, right? Your tank's going to go empty really quick.
It really does. And then it also be played against you, really. Because I've been hearing somebody breathe like that.
Then you know.
It's
you have to master that too. Yeah,
it's our opportunity
you have to be able to show. Yeah, it's like it's a game of poker, chess, and physical sort of.
It's time for me to turn it up then,
right.
because if they're reading that hard, I mean, if I increase the levels, right?
Yeah.
I want to come back to that point you asked me
Sure.
earlier. What the difference between Kekoa now versus back for the vision?
Gotcha.
So what I realized was for us to really truly make a difference as a brand, right? My only hero in business. I used to have two heroes, right? One was the founder of Whole Foods, and the other one was Patagonia. Sad part is John sold his company to Amazon, went public, and I'm anti any company goes public because you're going to lose your soul, your DNA and everything else, as you witness. So Yvon Chouinard was my only mentor, right? And I go, wow, we have to create a place, a company and a brand that younger generation can look towards too. We have to build a house where leadership is authentic, right? And the most part was the demise of our country, I believe, are two things. Lack of community, because lack of community, we lack role models. Think of us when we were growing up. We have role models.
Yeah, heroes.
Right, we did.
Everywhere, yeah.
And it was something that we strive to do. Sometimes it's grandpa, sometimes it's uncle, sometimes it's somebody down the street, but we had that because we're a community.
Yeah, excellent people, people who lived excellent lives that are certainly, from start to finish, something to model after.
Right. It has nothing to do with what kind of car they drive or the money and all that bullshit. Right.
It's a character.
So I felt, so I felt like, okay, Kekoa this time. So the mission statement back in 2009 was totally mission statement. Then, when we launched 2016. The slogan now is mindful living because I think that's what it's all about. If each one of us show up to our household, to our kids as father, to our wife or spouses as partner, mindfully, we're going to change the world. Figure out that's what we need to do, but how do we do this? So I figure we do this by using the passion that all of us love so much at Kekoa. Travel, surf, and jiu-jitsu. So that's like the hook.
Right.
That's like the bait.
Right.
But we want to get you in because all these things we love, right? but that's not the essence of the brand.
The community
brand,
wants the people come together. That's where all the magic is. Right?
Yes, but when the community come together and they see people like me and Miguel barely know each other, but I can tell you, I would die for this man.
Yeah, good people.
Right, because
Right.
the community share the same value, same heart, same mind.
Right.
And we also know that how we are off the mat is 10 times more important than stupid medal that we won in that 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I see a lot of that. These people who bring their youth to jiu-jitsu. Some people don't, agree with that. I love it. I think it's important that they learn how to control their bodies and their minds. And but these great dads that are bringing their sons and rolling with them too. And I think it's an amazing way or model to provide as an augment. Again, there's lots of sports to do, but I mean, certainly as a way of life and sort of as a lifestyle. Yeah, jiu-jitsu just makes sense.
And Dewey was talking about community itself, and it's interesting because as you were mentioning that, Dewey, I was thinking about your booth in Las Vegas and how that booth was just the most well-attended booth in the entire convention.
All the Hawaii folks went over there.
Well, that was one thing. That was like all Hawaii guys they knew to meet at Dewey's because then everybody would be there.
That was like the network spot.
That was a lot of fun too. But just seeing how this brand itself and understanding your concept and what you were thinking when you made the decision to take on the brand itself, it's really cool to see like now people looking for it and understanding that they're buying more than just a brand. They're adopting a lifestyle where they can affect others positively and learn from each other.
Yeah, you're invited. It's like you're inviting them in. It's not just buying stuff. You're coming in and participating in the community that we're trying to build.
And to be honest with you, in 2009 when I started Kekoa, I really have this goal of making tons of money so I can retire and I can travel and surf and train because that's what I want, right? And now, the last thing I want to do is retire.
Right.
And second thing, what I realized was, man, right? If we can build business, think about it. You guys were so perplexed when you text me and go, why would this guy, I don't even freaking know, willing to like lend us this room so you can do my podcast?
We were like, what? Come on, you're clowning me, man. Don't be clowning me.
David,
I was just inquiring.
but Miguel and David, I want you to think something. When we go back and look at the history of our country, when it was founded, this is how business was.
Right.
Business was about win-win.
Yeah.
Business is about helping each other out, elevating one another. Business is about providing good services to the community while our children and great-grandchildren are growing
business
up.
equals community building.
Yeah,
Right.
I know. But somewhere along the line, we lost.
Separated, yeah.
We lost that value because we thought for us to consume. And I trip out sometimes, like this whole lately, the last probably 5 years about who's the richest person? Is it Elon Musk? Is it, that kind and this and that? I go, by the end of the day, the ending's the same for all of us. We're goddamn in the box somewhere or burn up, and we can't take any of this shit with us. And then we leave that to our children. And then I have a Manny Trustman kid that's worthy of anything. They're all piece of shit.
Right.
And then we keep doing this shit. I don't understand it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I decided, go, you know what, Jeff, Clifton, Joe and James, we're gonna create this thing called Kekoa Foundation, non-profit, right? And then we're gonna make shitload of money, just like Pettijohn is gonna one day. We haven't made any money. We still broke as shit, but one day we do. And instead of pay taxes, where we don't have control of where it goes, we're gonna move over to Kekoa Foundation, and we're gonna address every goddamn issue where we do business. We can help. And hopefully, my dream, David, you one day have your own business and go, you know what, Dewey, I'm in. I want to give 5, 10, 3, 1% of my profit towards the community, and let's fix the school system. I was a high school teacher last year at Roosevelt High School, the #1 high school in Oahu. Kids shows up with no food. Kids shows up completely self-esteem shattered.
Right.
Because their parents work single mom, 5 jobs, 6 kids. It's horrific.
Right.
Yeah.
But what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Right.
So yes. So that's what I want to do.
Well,
so therefore I'm not going to retire. I'm going to hang out, train like Alio, and then when my time comes, you're gonna find me somewhere in the ocean on the mat with a grin on, and that's it, man.
I think that's all of our dream. Why we continue to work here, and
Yeah.
and in retirement, beginning to because of the economy and different things, it doesn't seem like it does make a lot of sense. Especially, so it does make sense if you are going to continue to work a lot longer, that you're involved in something that you love and that makes sense.
I agree with that. I don't think I can ever retire either.
Yeah.
Whether it's helping somebody or an organization, nonprofit.
But the narrative of retire come from the. Remember, you and I drank the milk.
Right.
From
Yeah,
our
the corporate-
parents. No. All parents and their parents. You know
Right.
why? Like Miguel, you ready? You relate to this shit for sure. Shut the F up. Be obedient in school, even if you don't learn shit in school. Get good grades. Go to college. Get a good degree, and go get a job that's secure.
Buy a
in the
house.
meantime, buy a house. Get in fucking debt. Make the bank rich. Whatever. Blah blah blah. Because you'll lose if you don't own shit. By the way, I don't own shit. I don't own nothing. I have zero. I'm broke as ass, and I'm proud of who I am.
Right.
And then maybe you can live your life when you're 62. But in the meantime, though, be miserable, show up work, and be lousy bosses to everyone around you.
Right.
Wreck your family
you have
you're
to get
angry.
through this, because this is how you have to do it too. So guess what? I've been right where you were at.
So
and you're
that's the
gonna hit some of
narrative. But if we don't stop changing this narrative to our children, we're going to repeat this damn cycle again and again. This is 2022. Right?
Yeah.
So I believe the baby boomers fuck it all up. I'm a baby boomer. I was born in
Right.
1964. Until all these geezer dies off. Because I'm telling you, my children, your children, and Seabass, that's the last thing they give a shit about. Right? And the proof of that is, David, in April 2021, right? Have you heard this? The biggest layoff, the biggest, I forgot the name of the term, but there's 4 million Americans quit their job.
Right, and then stop looking since then.
Yeah, because why?
Right,
These
they-
4 million was all the younger generation. Because you know why, David? They're sick and tired to be a slave of a corporation.
Yeah, that's
For
what I was telling my
2 weeks
daughter.
of
Yeah.
vacation.
Yeah.
My daughter's going through the same shit
Yeah.
right now. She's about to quit her job, right? Because she's 28 and she chased the money. I say nothing. I go, it's up to you. If I were you, travel, do volunteer work, or go work in the Peace Corps, then come back and figure out what you're gonna do.
Yeah, but Dad, you showed me how.
Huh? Yeah, exactly, right? Because my fuck up was the same thing, right? So it's my fault for sure. So now they figure it out. Right? So I believe the next generation. People talk shit about millennial. I'm telling you, as a high school
They're
teacher,
tough.
if you read what these 14 and 16-year student writes, you will never believe it. The challenge here, the disconnect between the parents, is the parents don't really know how these children think.
No.
25% of the children, the students, great relationship with the parents. The other 75, no. But I kept all of it, Miguel. I'm gonna write a blog. If you read these kids, what they write, their perception of the of community in their life, it is so inspiring.
Because they're living it. Yeah, they're living it.
No, they're sick and tired of shit that we create for them.
Yeah, they
But
want
what
something
they
else.
want-
Yeah, they envision
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah. No, but not about greed, and they're not greed at all, and they're not lazy either. I don't know. We don't understand, but we disconnect with them.
I think
Right.
that's the next business advantage, because again, if you want to keep that corporate, top down stuff going, you're going to get the same results when these new crowd of folks coming in. I think the smart companies are really addressing that and identifying, the culture that's going to invest in allowing these folks to work the way they want to, with the flexibility that they want, the kind of work, but that's so difficult for people to track and the accountants to track and all that stuff, so it becomes difficult. So keeping it small like this, making it like on the ground, as everyone has their own business generating. That's why business is so good. If everyone was doing the thing that they loved and generating that resource, we all trade, and we're all in and I think Hawaii has, because of our remoteness from everything, has had to really resource like that for a while. But still, there's corporate interests, of course, that roll around here in Hawaii and stuff. Does that you don't really have competition because there's nothing like you really for what you're doing?
Well, I mean, I think when it comes to vision and our mission, probably not. But I think there's a lot of business owners, out there, that I think they share this. I'm like AJ day by day, like everyone that we're involved with, with our brand, we all share the same thing.
Right.
We all want to do the same. So there's many like minds.
Right.
But the challenge is We're a small group,
Mm-hmm.
but it's okay. It takes one, right?
Right.
Muhammad Gandhi, free India.
That's
one
right.
freaking man. So we just need one crazy mother effer
Right, right.
that think it's possible.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it.
But-
that's
but-
all we need, right? Brian Wong, you're that guy.
But you know, one of the things though, it's a growing group, and it's an enthusiastically growing group
Yeah.
with people who want to raise their hand and say, what else can I do to help grow the sport?
Yep.
You know, the brand, everything. So if it takes that, I think in it itself, people identify with the brand and with the mission of the
Yeah.
brand itself.
Yeah, and then I realized that how do I take money's important. Well, money's not important. Money allow you to do all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff.
Money helps to get your stuff done.
Yeah. But the key to that is like, so we create a policy within us, like Jeff, Clifton, we're all partners. None of us can ever make more than $20,000 a month. That's it. I don't care how big this brand's gonna get, and
Right.
I like to see this brand to be $100 million, because that's a lot of funding for Kekoa Foundation. We can change this world, right? Just like Pettijohn is doing right now, right? And that's what we want to do. So nothing. We want to be big,
Right.
because we can change the world,
Right.
You know. So I'm all about that.
It
shit,
takes that
you
kind
know?
of vision, though. Tell me that difference between the vision that you're sharing now and maybe when you were that person who had just lost your job, and you know how you viewed what vision is for a company and what you view vision is for a company now.
Yeah, I think I didn't know how much each one of us live in fear.
Right.
Honest to God. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I had nothing. And then, wow. It is the fear that keep us in this, I call it invisible prison. You know, the invisible prison
Of our own making.
yeah.
Right.
But until you answer that question, right? The only way you can combat fear is spirituality.
Right.
Because when you figure out your own spiritual path,
Recentering, reconnecting with you,
fear
the deep you.
fear disappear, right?
Right.
The fear disappear, because fear comes from the ego, and ego and spirituality doesn't live in the same place, right? So and that's what I had to go through. So I went through this massive and I know where my fear came from. As an immigrant, as a Vietnamese refugee, came on the boat in 1975. I came here not even a backpack, zero, nothing. The backpack that my mom packed, that all the kids carry, because my two younger siblings was young. One was 4 months, the other one was 12 months, right? And then she had powder milk, right, for the baby. Underneath that backpack, she sewed a little lining. She put U.S. currency in it.
You were 11.
I was 11 years old. That's the only money we had, and the whole thing. So we came here. We have nothing. When you have nothing, it sucks, right? So what do you want to do? I'm gonna go make money,
Right.
right?
Right.
There's
So
not the
that's
same
what I
incentive.
did.
Yeah, it's so different now. People,
So the fear came from that. So what I had to go back and really look inward deeply. And here I am, David. Will you start your business at age 50? By the way, I never fished this or Kekoa. The house money, gone.
Gone in an
what's
instant.
next?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that don't take long.
Yeah. What's next? 401k, gone. So at age 50, I am 58 right now. I have $0 to my name. But unless I overcome the fear, I would never done what I've done.
Right.
I would have folded the company, kept my 401k, and go back get a job, and
Right, because those are
continue
the
my
safe
life.
boundaries of a normal society or whatever like that. Go back to your normal
Right.
thing. Go live your 9 to 5. Go do your
Yeah.
thing, and then go
Yeah.
hate yourself as
The
you look in the
invisible
mirror.
prison.
Right.
Go
Right.
back to that. 'Cause that's really safety and really bring you a lot of joy.
That's fear acting out, right? That's
Right.
pure fear.
See, yeah, you have to
And
decide.
me now, I just numb myself to death.
Yeah, you have to decide if it's a trade-off. Is that money worth that prison? And
Yeah.
there comes a time in your life when you have to evaluate that. If you don't mind being a prisoner, but that seems sort of the non-heroic way. Maybe it's brave to then face this fear though. So were there times when you said, hey, maybe you need to go back to 9 to 5, and then that maybe hesitate a little bit.
Nah.
That's a good space.
Because by the end of the day, my children are growing up now. Gabby's gonna be 29 next month. Nick's just turned 33. Now they're growing up.
Yeah, I think age and success, previous success before, to be able to create this other space. I think that's the responsibility of successful who get that way. Now it's their responsibility now to give back. Now how do I create the rest of my work life that goes outward rather than just back to me.
But they know now. They know now that, hey, Dad, what are you doing? So now they're gonna call me out and be accountable, right? Because I lived this life like I never had a real job,
right?
I swear to God. At age 16, I worked in the surf shop. I've been in the surf industry since I was 16.
Right. For
the 2 or 3 years I got fired, I quit. I went out of the industry and I go, what the fuck am I doing here?
All right.
And I go, I'm not doing this. So I always go back and restart again because I refuse to live my life on everybody else's term. I gotta live on my term because I have this one life.
Right.
I mean, I'm the only one out of my 6 siblings that truly, like, the rest of the sibling, I can tell you, my brother's a lawyer. He died 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Full-on penthouse, Mercedes-Benz deal. The rest of my oldest sister, I love her to death, just retired this week at age 65. And guess what? She's gonna come home and live her life.
Nice. Oh boy! Nice. Well,
but for 40 effing years,
sort of a little bittersweet. Then, is that what I mean?
It's like But again, it's okay. Right? There's no judgment. It's just everyone. You have to answer that question of your purpose in this life.
Right.
Why were you born? But the reason you're here. Mm-hmm. If you don't answer that, the sooner you answer, the better you'll be. Right. Mm-hmm. If you don't answer that, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I have a question.
On you.
Yeah.
I have a question. As an immigrant, did you find yourself out working some of your peers that were here already, working Americans that you had to compete with jobs? Where you said there, where you were raised here and where?
No, so we bounced around refugee camp until we end up in Fresno, California.
Okay.
So I finished college. As soon as I finished college, I bought a one-way ticket to Hawaii in 1987.
Okay.
And I've been here since ever since. If your question is, did I experience racism? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, racism, or
100%.
And
100%.
Also all your siblings seem successful, and so a lot of times you see folks, children of immigrants, they've a work ethic that they bring with them because they come maybe from not having anything, that they really respect the things that they get.
Yeah, that immigrant mentality, right?
Right.
David. Uh-huh. David and Miguel, I'm telling you, there's so much beauty lies in suffering. Mm-hmm. There's so much beauty lies in this shithole that you're in.
You can let's say, oh, my poor life, or go what, I'm right here because I got through that, whatever that was,
Right.
But looking back now, though, absolutely. Just like anything else, right? Mm-hmm. When you go in the restaurant, you know who's behind there doing all that stuff? Mexican. Mm-hmm. Sorry, that's how it is. That's the truth, right? Because you know why? The kind of work that we don't want to do, right? They're willing to do because where they came from is 10 times worse.
Right.
Right? So the gratitude,
this is a step up for sure.
It's the gratitude of being able to work.
Right. Just to get work and bring home a check and send that home every week.
Exactly.
Right.
And for me, I was a dishwasher. I did everything in the book because why? I don't speak the lingo. There's racism. And there's definitely racism when you work for a public trade company in corporate America. Mm-hmm. Right? But did it stop me? Hell no. Mm-hmm. No. The world is unfair. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
Shut up and grind.
Right.
That was my dad. That was my dad thing. Shut up and get back to work.
Right.
And I swear to God, I hate that guy. I hated him. I left home when I was 16.
Right.
I wish I didn't. I wish he was alive now. I want to thank him. Looking back, best thing for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we all look back and realize, while our dads were SOBs or whatever like that, when they were standing over us, saying get that done and get that done, and
I was just having a conversation with my 9-year-old about that and saying we're hard for you because we want to make sure that when you're 18 and you're on your own, you've seen all this.
Right.
You know how to wash dishes. You know how to cook. You know these things. So don't confuse us being hard with us caring for you.
Oh no, yeah. Then that's not hard. So anyway, but yeah, it's good when you have good upbringing. I think it's better to have parents that are firm and hold you accountable to being a good human than necessarily making sure you have the latest. The iPhone 14 I think is the next one out. So next steps for you, like you say, you see yourself huge vision, because again it amplifies the foundation. So what do you, if the foundation is the goal, where do you see some of the initial inroads of the foundation being able to go?
It's so funny because it took us forever to get our 501c3 nonprofit, because these days it's not an easy task. There's so much illegal IRS bullshit.
Right, especially during the pandemic.
So we got it. It's so funny. We're broke as shit. We have no money to put in it. But I remember the day Clifton goes, "Bro, we got it," and I almost cried. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Mm-hmm. Under the not-for-profit banner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Right.
Central Middle School.
Okay.
Oh, knock on wood. If all goes right, Miguel, we're going to have our first jiu-jitsu self-defense in that middle school.
Very cool.
Oh, wow.
And I hope to God it spread like wildfire.
Uh-huh.
So that's our first project. Second project, it just happened this morning.
Is this the place you're announcing it? Is it right here? Is it right here?
Yeah,
is it right
it
now?
is. It's happening now because I'm here. Yeah, we want to build a community center, man.
Wow.
Awesome.
And yeah, I can't say more, but I think it's, Raquel,
Of course.
and Hanato, she's from the Waianae, and she always wanted one day she's gonna come home. And I told her, be careful what you wish for. It's amazing the power of vision.
Right.
And
especially shared vision.
yeah, always. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're never good alone, David.
Right.
You know that, right? That's why you got this guy.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't want to say too much and jinx it, but it'd be amazing. Yeah, I envision business come together.
Sure.
Let's take care of the kids. Let's take care of the kids. They're our future. So, but for us to be better leaders, we gotta be whole human, meaning that not broken, right? Feeling good, sense of confidence, have role models, and the community surround you, lift you when you need it the most.
Follow the golden rule.
Yeah, but it's not possible. That's not impossible. It's doable.
Right.
So I think that's kind of our dream. And like I said,
I like the concept,
Yeah,
and I'm sorry to interrupt.
no, you're good. I lost for words.
I like the concept that you drive, because it reminds me a lot of Brian Wong's teachings that are not techniques, they're concepts. Do something like this. Feel good about yourself. Help others. Don't be a dick. Different things of a situation where you're saying, I can do that.
There's sort of life boundaries and sort of principles that then can guide they're not like, hey, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just some guidelines to help you guide your inner voice as you're sort of making decisions.
Be a good guy, period, right?
Right.
David, Miguel, we have one choices to show up every day in life.
Mm-hmm.
In our marriage, in our family, in our community, in our work. The choice is very simple. Be a dick or don't be a dick. Trust me, but most people being a dick because they're unconscious, not a conscious choice, right?
Yeah, they've been living that ego, right?
Well, they're broken, right?
Right.
A broken human does broken shit, right? So how we correct that?
Right.
They gotta unpack their childhood shit. They're gonna be around a bunch of good role models, loving and nurturing and supportive. So they go, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay
to say, maybe I am broken a little bit.
You don't own your past.
Right.
But you own your today, though.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to let all that how you used to be continue to be
and
today.
I think if we do that every day in our community, every day at work, and all that, practice that, I think we can change our community. I do believe we can change our country.
Yeah.
I might be naive as fuck, which I am. But
I think that's realistic. It starts local though, for sure.
Yeah.
The local has to change as that moves, and then that there's critical mass that happens. But you got to start somewhere. You have the vision, and it's very impressive what you're doing, Hawaii Boss, the podcast, and letting us use this space. And on the podcast, as we sometimes we have some surprises. So again, for
this is your new home. So until you guys decide to do some film.
We wanted to make sure that we, again, David was so grateful for you guys having us here, and
This is just a little token of our appreciation. Certainly,
I want to show this.
he got to count that money. He said he ain't got zero. He got a little more than zero right now.
No, I can't take this. This is gonna go towards
Kekoa Foundation. Yeah.
No, the community center we're talking about.
Okay. Yeah, that's the first initial donation.
And we need match for the Central Middle School, so I know we got to raise about $11,000. I think we got 3, so this will go towards that.
So they can find out more on Kekoa Collective.
KekoaCollective.com and then KekoaFoundation.org. Right, so those are the 2. Right now we haven't done. There's not a whole lot of content. KekoaFoundation.org. But you can definitely get on Kekoa Collective. And then, like I say, we're here. And everyone in this community know who we are. We train with everybody across the... So, yeah. And I can't thank you enough for a lot of this.
Thank you.
This has been a pleasure for us. This
is awesome. I really had fun. I apologize for the F-bomb, but sorry. I warned you.
You're going to make our editor work overtime there. No. Yeah, no. Hey, listen. Until next time, again, a real pleasure for me, and I'm sure we're going to be talking some more. And
you're gonna come here. I want to see you guys every week. This is gonna be your home away from home, right?
We love it.
Yeah. So, and also for anyone out there want to do a podcast, seriously, we mean what we say. So, I don't believe ownership at all, because I think when I die, I can take me with us. So I feel my role in this lifetime, whatever the blessing I'm a steward for this space. I'm a steward for whatever it is in the moment in time. So for those who want to launch a podcast, this is your room, this is your space, and Hawaii Boss can be the first one to take your first step.
Been so fun.
I'm so proud and honored, and oh my God, one day I'm gonna take a photo day with all the kids at Central.
Hey, that's right. I'll be there with you.
Yeah, you're gonna be there with
you.
I'll definitely be there.
And from the bottom of my heart, I love you and I thank you for everything. I appreciate it.
Take care, brother. Right. Until next time, aloha. And to all the folks out there listening in, so grateful for you to join us here on our first inaugural live in podcast studio at Kekoa Collective. Until then, aloha.
All right.
Make sure to subscribe to Hawaii Boss and follow us on social media at Hawaii Boss Podcast at the links in the description. We'll see you soon in the boss's office.